Hello, everyone. So, we're going to be having a conversation today about the economic state of Nigeria, the financial situation of Nigeria, and of course, the recent budget paddling scenario in Nigeria. And to be having this conversation with us today is Dr. Lola, the author of My Pot of Gold. Dr. Lola, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Lola Odeyale. I'm a finance and management consultant, and when it comes to finance, when it comes to management, investment advice, why not? That's what I do. Thank you for having me.
You're very much welcome once
Thank you.
again. So, I found the whole book is very interesting and very educative. But there's a particular part I want us to start with.
Okay.
So I'm going to read that part. It says, "Why growing up? The common question was, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, I stand to say we should rather ask, what problem or problems do you want to solve? What solution do you want to bring to your world? What value do you want to give?" So let's talk about this.
Well, like I wrote, a lot of times parents ask their children or even teachers, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the child will say, neurosurgeon, medical doctor. Why? Child doesn't even know why. It's better asked, what problem do you want to solve? Because money gravitates towards value. Money is that consideration in exchange of value given. For example, a place is dirty, somebody comes to clean it, then you appreciate the person, or you say thank you for cleaning that dirty place. So what the person has done is to give you value, and then you are paying the person for the value the person is giving. So it's better to say, what value do you want to bring to the table? What problem do you want to solve? What is that thing that is not going well, that you feel that, oh, I have the capacity, or there's something inside of me that I can bring to the table. Today, you see children that draw. Now we have animation, we have VR. This is a problem that they decided to solve. Those days when you want to make a call to US or UK, you have to go online, queue up 3 weeks. They still come back in 3 weeks. But today, you can pick your phone and even do a FaceTime, WhatsApp call. Somebody saw the problem in telecommunication and said, oh, we can solve this problem. And they came up with, the Wright brothers came up with the airplane. It's a problem because you want to travel before, you're thinking of either going by ship or by, and in fact, it takes a longer time. Today, we're having people telling you that you can do some places within hours. Somebody is saying that, oh, even that 6 hours that I'm using to travel is still long. Can I make it shorter? So it's all about what problem can you solve. When you solve problems, you bring value, then definitely money will come towards you. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Lola, it's good to have you once again.
Thank you.
Okay, and the book, My Pot of Gold, Unlocking Your Personal Treasury.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what is happening in the country presently. But from your book, page 42.
Okay.
Yes, I have here on page 42. Why manage money? Why do people fail financially? Okay, looking at what is happening presently, I want you to tell us, how can we manage our resources? How can we manage the resources we have now? How can we manage the money we have now? Because I don't want to say inflation. It's not happening. It's not happening. But then, as a financial coach, can you please guide us, teach us, give us some tips on how to manage what we have now?
Well, the truth is, we are in a situation where there's inflation. There's no, it's glaring. You know, MPR rate has moved from 27 400 point basis. A lot of things are happening. Price hike everywhere. You go to the market in the morning, by evening it's already telling you something else. But this is the analogy I give. If you don't manage your money, it's like going to taking water and pouring it in a basket. That's just how it is, because over time it's going to be leaking. So management of resources at this time is very crucial. I've had people tell me, oh, we don't even have enough. Expenses are so much, and you are telling us that we should, how can we even manage it? The first thing that I would encourage people, this is the time to increase your source of income. If you're a type of person that has been on one income, then you need to increase it. It boils down to where we are coming from, the value that you bring. So you have to look within yourself, what other value can I give to be able to add to what I already have. So if you're the type of person that you know how to write, then you may have to develop yourself in writing so that you can begin to, so this is the time for us to increase more our source of income. This is a time to be over disciplined. I don't want to, I would have said disciplined, but I want to use that word over, because a lot of time when you tell people be disciplined, they think, well, this is a time that you need to be disciplined. This is a time that you need to live within your means. This is a time that you don't have to impress anybody with anything. Oh, I have a function, so I have to go and borrow because, that party, they must know that I'm there. This is
name.
that is the truth. This is not a time for that. As much as possible, this is a time to be moderate. This is a time to actually spend on needs. What are the things that you need for survival? This is not a time for luxury or frivolities. If your cloth is still nice, please wash it very well, iron it, starch it, and look good. This is not a time to go and borrow money to buy clothes. This is not the time. This is a time for us to really focus on, what are the things that I need? This is a time that, as much as possible, we have to budget. I don't know how to say that, but people will say, it's not enough, you're telling me to budget. But if you don't budget, you're just going to shoot yourself in the leg.
I'm sure you've heard about the recent budget paddling issues in the country. Before we move ahead, what can you tell us about that?
Well, the thing is, it's expected that every nation should have a budget, and as nations have budget, individuals too should have budget. What I will only say is, as much as possible, budgeting should be done rightly. There are things that are expected to be there, and we shouldn't, add unnecessarily to it. So I will only want to say that budgeting should be done rightly.
All right. Now you are talking about rightly.
Yeah.
Of course, there is national budget. Maybe there's family budget and possibly individual budget.
Yeah.
So let us come to family now. The things are sweet. Let's use the word sweet.
yeah.
Well, so how do we do family budget in this season? How do we do individual budgets?
Okay.
What are the things we factor in?
So I'm just going to merge the two together, because even whether nationally, individually, family, the budgeting has basis. Though there are different types of budgeting, but I'll just talk about the basic. First and foremost, before you budget, you have to first of all look at your sources of income. So if you're talking about a family, then the man, the wife, what is my income? What is your income? You have to first know it. That's the truth. Don't sit down and say, okay, we're going to use this for this. No, you have to first know what your source of income is, and then document it in the sense that, okay, this is how much we are expecting, especially for the ones that it will be coming. For the ones that you don't know, there's also, but at least for the ones write it down. Okay, so at the end of the month, man and wife, we're expecting a total of 200,000, or let me even come down and say, okay, we're expecting a total of 50,000 naira for what we have done. Okay, so what's the next thing? The next thing is to say, where is this money going to go? That's actually budgeting. How are we going to expend what we have? There are some fundamental things. Whatever religion, if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, for Christians we pay tithes. For the other ones, you can say, okay, you want to use it as a form of alms giving. So there's a percentage, that's 10% for your tithe. When you take out that, the next thing I always recommend for everybody is to take out a percentage for savings. Now, ideally, you say 10%. But I say, even if you can't do that 10%, make sure you do a percentage. So let's assume we are on a family budget of 50,000. We have taken out 10%, which is 5,000 for tithe. And we say, okay, let's do another 10% for savings. We take out 5,000. And then the next thing is, what are the things that we need? Food, maybe education, maybe, and then the remaining, no, the remaining 80% now, 10, then we spread it on that. Now, you are the ones that will have to now sit down to say, okay, this is what we need more. And then I know some people will say, if we budget for food, budget for education, budget for rent, how do we do it? Rent is not something that you do every month. However, you can begin to take a portion out monthly so that when the time comes, the pressure will not be much. The same thing to education. Tuition fee is always quarterly. So what I tell people is, for those expenses, you can take a percentage of your 80% out again, maybe a 5%, and say these ones are for things that will come due over time. Now, your 10% that you have kept for your savings, if that's what you're working with as a family, out of that 10%, you can now say, okay, from this 10%, we want to do 30%. I don't want to put a percentage, but what I usually do is 30, 40, 40. 30 for emergency, 40 for retirement, and 40 for projects. So it's okay, 30% of this 10%, I'm going to keep it for emergency funds, because there will be emergencies. The car could break down, we need to fix something. The idea is, we call it budget, so it's every month. So you have taken this 5%, 10% this month. You're taking the same thing next month. You may not have an emergency until like 3-4 months. So it's there. But the problem is, people say, I need to use this money now, and they use it, and they now forget that, it has come like. So the idea of budgeting is it's a discipline. Let me put it that way. You have to discipline yourself, and it's key for managing funds. People say, budgeting does not allow me to choose. I tell people, no, budgeting helps you to make the right choices. Because when you're sitting down, you're writing, okay, 5,000 for this, 2,000 for this. By the time you look at it, you say, 2,000 for chocolate and ice cream, and I beg, let's reduce it. Children, please, let's reduce it as much as possible, because you're spelling it out. And there's nothing wrong if you have grown-up children. Sit with them and say, come, this amount, the education is more important to you. So you see, that party we want to go, let's leave it. Mommy, I need a new clothes for Easter. New clothes for Easter. Food is more important than clothes, because we're looking at needs. So it's very important that we focus on what are the needs, what are our sources of income, and then we write it down. Budgeting should not be done with the head. People say, okay, I'm putting it in my head. No, it has to be written down. Write it down, a place that you can see it. Because by the time you write it down, you're able to check what is not okay, what can be adjusted, what can be reduced, what can be added to. The important things will stick out, and then you can focus on it to say, this is more important. Food is more important at this time. So a lot of percentage will go to it. Education also, then you can plan to say, okay, in 3 months, this is how much, we can put this aside. And like I said, if somebody is saying, you're talking about 50,000, what can 50,000 do today? Look for how to increase your source of income. It has come, there's nothing we're going to do. We just have to find a way to increase our sources of income, and there's so many ways we can do. We can volunteer, we can go somewhere and help them. They give you a little amount or something, or you have saved and you are investing in it, you have invested and something is dropping, maybe your shares, dividend, little like that. There are sources of income. I'm sure the time will not be enough to say so many things, but maybe another time we'll talk about it.
There are actually some people that do their budgets after they have spent the money. That's by the way.
But that's not budgeting. Budgeting should actually be before the money comes. Even I tell people, if you are not expecting money and the money is given to you, or you just have it, the first thing to do is leave that money and then sit down and budget. For example, I did a job and they should pay me in 2 weeks' time. You budget it, and the money doesn't come, or maybe you didn't expect it. Somebody just looked at you and said, "Oh, God bless you, take 10,000 naira." I tell people, don't spend that money. I've had people tell me, it's not easy. Yes, it's not easy, but it's a discipline. Don't spend it until you, because if you spend it, you'll be shocked after 1 week. You say, what happened? Where's the money? You'll not be able to.
Then you start calculating.
And that's why you see people, by the time they sit down and calculate how much money have gone through their hands in a year or in 2 years, they'll be shocked. The reason is because they never took time to budget, to write it down. And for me, it has really helped me. I remember there was a particular membership I wanted to upgrade, and they said, you've not paid. And I was like, I've not paid. I just went back to my books and I picked out the date, the months. I just went, when I saw it in the book, all I just needed to do was just to go to the bank and get the printout. And I said, I made this payment this year, I made this payment this year. And that's how I was cleared, because I documented it. Even I don't only even budget, I also write all expenses. I learned that from Bishop Oyedepo. Everything I spend, I write it down. It does a lot. Because at the end of the time when you're reviewing, you can check, what did I spend money on? Was it more of malaria drugs? So it means that you need to take care of your environment. Was it more of frivolities? So it also helps.
I should also ask, there's the concept of agbano. The Yoruba concept of agbano. I don't know how to interpret that in English, but basically it's about the fact that maybe there's a demon that takes money from people. I want you to speak to that. Is it real? Is it possible, or is just that? Is it just mismanagement? We are just being reckless with money.
For me, I would say I would attribute it to mismanagement. I would attribute it to impulse buying. I could also attribute it to a situation whereby you don't budget even what you give out, because we have a lot of people that out of giving and giving and giving, they discover that they always lack. Now, I was in that shoes before. When somebody says, help me, I'm thinking of helping the person. And if I'm not able to help the person, I've had people abuse me over time to say, we need help from you. And then I learned from a senior mentor who said, no, you must always mark how much you would give out. So even in your budget, you should always mark how much you give out. There's a book I'm writing on for kids. It should come out, maybe another series where you talk about the 3 jars. That also should apply to our budgeting. What you save, what you spend, what you do. It should be part of it. No matter how little, it's okay. This is what I would give. Someone to exceed that month, let the person wait till the next month. So it's all about being disciplined. I'll just put it that way. Because somebody that buys impulsively, at the end of the day, will say, I don't know how the money left my hand.
I call it agbano.
We don't want to waste much of your time. I know you have a lot to say, and a lot in this book. Also, My Pot of Gold, Unlocking your Personal Treasury. I looked through the book. I saw you have all it takes to make money, to solve problems, and to give value. Then you said, remove money myths from your mindset. Change and imbibe a positive mindset. So this time I would say, because of what is happening, we should imbibe positive mindset. Yeah. So before we call this call it a day, I want you to talk briefly about your book and where we can get.
Okay, My Pot of Gold is a finance book, a personal finance book, helping you to teaching about making money, managing money, and multiplying money. And there's so many things in that book. Sincerely, I don't even know how to say it. It talks about that shape that you have and how you can actually use your shape to bring value to the table and make money. It also talks about the different ways you can manage your funds, and talks about how you can multiply your funds. I'm sure people will say, even in this time of scarcity, you're talking about multiplication. Yes, you just have to think of multiplying the little that you have so that you can have more for tomorrow. The books are available on Amazon and Seller and major bookstores all over the country. Robinite, booksellers, mention them, all of them. So please feel free to pick a copy. I can guarantee you will come back and say thank you because you will learn a lot.
Should I share my testimony after we do the book?
Yes.
I read the book. I read the book first. After the author, I read the manuscript, and of course, it opened my eyes. And here we are today. And as you can see on the cover, we have a man guiding and guarding that pot of gold. So it's a time to guide and guard your pot of gold. This is the season. So Dr. Lola, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for giving this back to the society.
And that is where we call it a wrap for this conversation. I believe you have learned one or two things, but most importantly, is when you are doing your budget, make sure there is no padding. Your family budget. Don't pad your family budget.
Before we go, we usually do something. I will tell Dr. Lola, thank you. This is Purple Bloom Publishers, and Dr. Lola is one of our authors, and she has written three. Am I right? Is it three books?
Yeah.
Okay, and our daughter has also written one book, and Dr. Lola is writing another book for children, which is titled
Bisola visits her grandmother.
Bisola visits her grandmother, and please tell us quickly.
Okay, I just felt that Pot of Gold is a finance book. It may be the words there may be too high for children. So Bisola visits her grandmother. It's actually a finance book teaching children about making money, and it's going to be a series. So watch out. I want you to pick it up when it comes out. Every child should have it, and I can tell you when they have it, they will come back and tell you, "Mommy, we need more for our friends."
Okay. So you right there, you can get the book when it is out. We'll let you know. So on this platform, we'll just say thank you, Dr. Lola,
Thank you
for
so
coming
much.
around. And there's a little thing I want us to do. Yes, you're going to be signing on the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Yes, so we move there and you sign.